it was thanks to the Academy that this film was nominated and won. At the time, we had no distributor yet. At the time, it didn't come out yet anywhere. We didn't have it anywhere home. And the Academy members, in contrast to many people who think that they are stupid people who just in January fill out the ballot and then go home, want to encourage films which have a potential and which they feel should be seen. And that was a reason why One Day in September was chosen, and that's why it won, and that's why it became a big success. It was a tremendous success at the Olympic Games in Australia, for instance, and so on. Now we come to after having stressed the fact that these films have one united aspect, namely that nobody wanted to do them. So it is important that when you plan to do films, you shouldn't listen Tom, Dick, and Harry, what he says, but you should listen to yourself. And I never discuss my films with anybody. In fact, I hate to tell journalists what I'm going to do because I'm not interested in their view. They can view the film when it's finished, but not before. In any event, having said this, I will tell you about the film. The film idea was to make a film on the first terror attack at the time in Munich. Now this is 25 years after the event, and everybody said to me and to Kevin MacDonald, the director, that we are crazy to think about this. And we gave it a long thought, and we came to the conclusion that it would be stupid to take James Woods or Al Pacino or anybody like this in the parts. And we came to the, what I think, very original idea that we cast the film exactly with the people who 25 years ago played the parts themselves, like the Minister of Interior, like the head of the police in Munich, like the head of the Secret Service of Israel, and so on. I made about 8 trips to Cohn to convince Mr. Genscher, the Minister of Interior at the time, and still today one of the most important politicians of Germany, to do the part, because he was afraid of the reactions. And today I am very, very beloved by him, because the New York Times wrote in its review that Mr. Genscher is the stereotype of a gentle German. So he cites this whenever you talk about the film or about himself, he cites this quote. So this was a big achievement to have Mr. Genscher, because he was the one, as you will remember in the film, who spoke actually to the Israelis who were killed thereafter. He was the only one to see them and talk to them. And we had the head of the police from Munich, who in the film and in reality was not very courageous or very helpful. However, he did it, and he was very honest with himself and with his past history, and he didn't mind that we painted it the way it was. This goes for all the other people, the head of the Olympic Committee. I had big trouble in Israel because there was never ever a photo of the head of the Secret Service. And I not only made a photo, but I made a film. And he was very supportive. And it is very important that we show him in the film because all these add to the authenticity. The idea was to make a film 25 years later makes only sense if you have an authentic film. And you cannot have an authentic film unless you have the authentic people who were involved. Now, when we had all this done, and we had everybody assembled and taken care of, I remember a meeting in London, and I told Kevin MacDonald, who became a very good friend of mine and a lovely man and a very good director, that I'm not going to do the film unless we find the only surviving Palestinian terrorist. Because I was very concerned that if we don't do that, they will view the film as Israeli propaganda. And the fact that we have the Palestinian in the film would be enormously helpful, because it allows us to see both sides. We see the Israeli side and we see the Palestinian side. And as you remember, in the end, the Palestinian is not what people thought, that after we discovered him, thanks to contacts of Kevin in Cairo. We found him in Africa, and when we approached him, he was ready to do it. He was very friendly. He was very willing. And I thought that the first thing he will do is to say, I'm so sorry about the 11 Israelis who were killed, and I didn't mean it, and so on. But he didn't say that at all. He said he's very proud of what he did, because thanks to this action, the Palestinian political ambitions have become known to millions and millions of people in the world. So I am convinced that the film wouldn't be what it is without the Palestinian, and I'm very, very proud, a little of myself and certainly of Kevin, that we insisted to find him, because the Israeli Secret Service looked for him for over 5 years and they failed. And we, with happy circumstances, found him, and I believe the presence of the Palestinian is extremely important. Another thing in the filmmaking of this One Day in September, which was important, was the music. All music is from the year 72. All the songs are from that year, and it took a hell of a long time and a lot of money to get the rights and to assemble them. We then had the question of the narrator. Fortunately, I have friends, and fortunately the friends are decent people. And when my good friend Michael Douglas heard that I'm planning this film, and he was also supported by his father, he felt it was so important that he will reduce his fee enormously. I can tell you that his normal fee at the time was between $8 and $9 million. And he did the narration, which was a job for some time, not too long, but still maybe 11 days or 2 weeks. He charged me only $100,000. So I came away with a star, which helped me in the PR of the film, and it was very helpful, and he's fantastic. When it comes to something which is meaningful, he doesn't have the same financial terms as something which is pure entertainment. Anyway, this is general views which I wanted to tell you, and now I'm delighted to hear from you who... No, she drinks water all the time, but not me. So I will be happy to answer your questions. I would say we use the third. But don't forget that when you talk about footage of an authentic documentary film, then we talk about footage which is sometimes similar footage of